xRhythms.
He's never going to change. He's never going anywhere. And so I have this hope that, wait, I can hope in this. This is never going to leave me. God's never going to leave me. I have this. And it gives me a peace and it gives me a joy that my hope and my happiness and my joy does not come from the world. It comes from God. And the joy that comes from being loved by God, being loved by the creator of the universe, that is a joy that is unlike any joy in this world.
That's so inspirational and quite, I guess, in a way, it's quite powerful to hear, especially because you're quite young. So are you 21?
I am.
Yeah, 21. Wow, amazing. And it feels like you've just kind of had a huge sort of life experience already, especially finding God in the middle of loads of different troubles and so on that you've had. So just because you kind of touched on stuff like eating disorders and anxiety, what kind of advice would you give to someone who is young as well and might be facing or struggling with those things?
So eating disorders are still, like, it's been a big part of my life. And before I started modeling, it kind of was whenever I kind of developed that, and it just got worse and worse and worse. A few years ago, I feel like when I was in the middle of high school, like my junior year of high school is when it kind of started, I just started like getting so afraid that, oh my gosh, I'm going to gain weight. And I started being afraid of eating any foods that were bad foods that I characterized as bad foods. And then I ended up just spiraling through this fear and irrationality, and I lost a lot of weight, and I was very, very ill and very unhealthy. But in my mind, I was like, no, I have to keep doing more. I have to keep listening more. I have to keep looking better and doing the right thing to be a good model, to be a good person, to fit into the standard that people have, the society has made us feel like we have to fit into. I mean, I'm still honestly on this journey, and every single day I have to surrender this to God, and it's still a struggle. I have some days where it's hard, but I mean, I've been in recovery for about 3 years now, and so he's been there to hold all of it, and he's delivered me from so many things. And for anyone who's struggling with that, I just want you to know that you're not alone. First of all, like, people think, oh, I'm the only one that has this issue, no one else has this issue, I'm the only one. Like, I promise you, it's very sad, but so many girls and boys in the world struggle with these things silently, and no one knows that they struggle with them. And just because you don't look like you don't look like, oh, you struggle with it, like, your struggles are valid no matter what you look like or what you think should be a struggle that's valid. You are worthy of getting help. You need that. I just invite you to seek help, and to also, whenever I was struggling with this, I found this is the first time in my life I ever really actually learned to sit alone with God and actually pray. Because I would always try to pray and get distracted, but that's okay because we're human, we get distracted. But I actually was like, fine, okay, God, I'm actually gonna try to pray. I'm gonna try. And in that season of my life, the very first season I started to recover from this, I finally found that just being still in his presence and knowing that, okay, I can't control this. I have to sit with these feelings. I have to sit with this discomfort and know that there's a Bible verse that says, be still and know that I am God. So I'm not God. God is God. And so I can be still and rest that he has me in his hands. He knows what's best for me, and he wants to prosper me, not to harm me. He has good plans for me. But even now, this is a recent thing that I've really come to finally be able to be more healed from, is not feeling like I have to fit into the certain archetype of what the ideal body looks like, because our bodies are very temporary. Think about it. In 10 years from now, we're gonna be aging. Our bodies are so fleeting and momentary that one time I had the idea, at your funeral, is somebody gonna be like, oh yeah, she looked really great, she had a great abs? Nobody at your funeral, they're gonna be talking about how you loved. They're gonna be talking about the joy that you had. They're gonna be talking about how you loved and all the joy of your life. They're not gonna be talking about what you looked. It's definitely a journey. That wasn't really a clear-cut answer, but keeping a more long-term view has helped me in a lot of respects in my recovery, knowing that this is not all I see right now, is not all that there is, and there's so much more in life than just this.
I think everything that you just shared then, in terms of how you've found help with your body image through praying and spending time with God, is actually very, very special. And you've just started to release music now, and your first song is Wonderfully Made, which you can find on xRhythms.
I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
What was your inspiration in writing that? Kind of the background, where you were coming from?
I've written about 170 songs, and so there's so many songs that it's just part of me, that's just what I do when I'm bored. Write a song. It just kind of comes out of me. I feel like it's definitely a gift from God. He's like, here's a song. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. And so this song, I wrote it in July, and one day I was just sitting there, because I used to, when I was younger, when I was 12, 13, I would try to write worship songs, and they were always really cheesy and bad, because they were all about what I had heard songs to be. It was never what about I had experienced with God. And so I started to read the Bible years ago, and even this year I've really developed a love for reading the Bible, because it's made me know him more, and my songs have become so much more broad, and the depth of them has gotten so much greater because of how much more I know his actual heart. And this particular song, Wonderfully Made, is about a psalm in the Bible. It's called Psalm 139, and it's one of my favorite psalms. It's just so beautiful. So it's all about how God made us so uniquely. He carved us out so uniquely. He knew us before the world began. He knew you before you were even born. Like, he thought about you. He knew your name. He knew what you'd be doing right this very second before you were even born, and he loved you so much. And so it was so fun to write that. It's a joy to get to sing it. And then in the bridge, it's from a psalm called Psalms 8, and it's all about, like, who am I that you, the creator of the universe, thinks of me? Who am I that the creator of the universe cares about me? He thinks about me. He loves me. He made the moon and the stars, but he calls me his work of art. He calls you his work of art. He made the moon and the stars, but he calls you his work of art, his masterpiece. So it's all about how, you, even if you feel like you are something's wrong with you, you have flaws, you have these things, God says, no, you are wonderfully made. You are wonderfully made. You are fearfully, which means with awe and reverence. You are with awe and reverence, and wonderfully, you are created uniquely for a purpose.
I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
If people want to continue to listen to more of your music and find you, follow you, where can they go?
I'm on Apple Music and Spotify and Amazon and all those music platforms. I have 4 songs out right now, and like 2 of them I released like 2 years ago. One of them I released this past year, and so this is my 4th one that's out. But I have an album, a mini EP coming out in a few months. So I'm in the process of working on that. I recorded it all in quarantine, but I have to go and finalize it. So that's coming out soon. You search my name on any platform, and you probably will find where I am.
Well, it's been so awesome talking to you today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.